yeah, lovely way to introduce Lewa Wilderness. I think my job's almost done now, but I'll give you a few facts and figures and a little bit more, diving into a little bit more depth now about the actual property itself. So Lewa Wilderness is located in the Laikipia area of Kenya, Laikipia Plateau. And this area surrounding really Mount Kenya. We always call it North Kenya, but actually it's not really northern Kenya. It's actually very central to Kenya. But this area of Laikipia twins really well with particularly maybe like the Mara, where you can combine this amazing, the Mara where it's like quintessential African savanna, and whereas Laikipia is much more of an immersive safari experience. The kind of activities you can do here are all about getting out the vehicle, getting on horseback, getting on camels, going for walks. So it's more of a, as you'll see and as you saw from the film, the landscape is very wild and rugged and dramatic. And very private. So Lewa Wildlife Conservancy only actually has 5 tourism establishments on it. Lewa Wilderness is located here to the east. Then we have Lewa Safari Camp, which is owned by Elewana, as is Karafu House. And Lewa House and Karafu House are located on this beautiful big hill, almost right in the middle of the conservancy. So amazing views around. And then we have Sirikoi tucked down in the woodland, quite near the actual conservancy headquarters. So there's only 5 tourism establishments, all of which are very, very small, and it's over 65,000 acres. So the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy is really, as Wilson in his film, there's 350 acres per tourist. So it's all about privacy, which I think just works so well when you've maybe had that Mara experience, which is that very intense game experience, but you will see other vehicles. To come here, you just really appreciate not only the privacy, but also being able to get out of the vehicle and just really immerse yourself in the safari experience. So as is shown from the film, Lewa Wilderness was actually set up as a private home, as his parents' home. So it is very much designed as a home as opposed to a lodge. And it really retains that very homely feel. The Craig family still live there as a family home. Miranda, who does the marketing, is going out with the son, and Sasha Craig, who I'm sure many of you know, is currently on maternity leave, so Miranda's covering for her, has been the main kind of marketing manager over the last few years of promoting Lewa Wilderness. So it really is a family experience. We're very privileged to be part of it. This is Will and Emma Craig here on the left-hand side, and also Karamushu, who's absolutely part of the family as well. He's been working on Lewa for over 20 years, and he is actually manager. So he runs the property day to day. But your guests will often see Will and Emma because obviously it's their home, they're around and about, but really Karamushu is the main point of contact, and he is absolutely fantastic. He's just got such a lovely aura around him and is incredibly efficient as well. So this is the property from the air, with the main house on the right hand side, the swimming pool, and then the cottages kind of all dotted around. There are 9 cottages in total, divided between 6 hillside cottages and 3 garden cottages. But the whole environment of Lewa Wilderness is very much a homely feel. The areas are all different areas where you can go and just relax, and everyone can rest. This is a lovely kind of bar area overlooking a beautiful view down the dry riverbed. And this is where we tend to have lunches. And the food is just phenomenal. A lot of it is produced on the farm of Lewa Wilderness, which is about 1 kilometre away. And actually guests are really encouraged to go down and see the farm if they want to, see how they produce the food and see where their delicious lunches and vegetables come from, picked pretty much daily. So it's really, really lovely kind of fresh produce. Lunch is much more informal, more kind of Ottolenghi style salads and platters, whereas dinner is more formal dining and tends to be in the dining room. As I mentioned, they have this beautiful saltwater swimming pool, and they also have a tennis court and a gym. So for those guests who cannot sit still, this is perfect for them. They can actually exercise there, burn off some of their safari food. So as I mentioned, there are only 9 cottages in total, so it's very small. There are 6 hillside cottages, and then the 3 2-bedroom family units, which are absolutely enormous, and I can vouch for that myself because I stayed there with my family last October. So these are the rates. We just released the 2023 rates, which I'll send through to you, and also our special offers, which I'll send through to you as well on the rate sheet following the webinar. So this is the layout of the property. So you have the main house here with the dining room and sitting room veranda area. They're basically just down some steps down onto the kind of almost the cliff edge, looking out over this beautiful view. And then you have the 3 main, the 3 garden suites, which are enormous in this lovely big lawn area. and then the hillside cottages. So all the hillside rooms have this lovely view. The garden cottages don't have as much of a view, but they've got this lovely lawn in front of them. So particularly for families, these are brilliant. But all the hillside cottages are slightly different in style, and they're doubles. Then we also have a number of ones that are actually on 2 different levels, so you can easily fit a triple in there, or even 2 young children as well can fit, squeeze in the rooms as well, because as you can see, they are absolutely enormous, all quite unique, all quite different in style, big open showers, but beautifully styled with this amazing big glass front overlooking the views. So just really comfortable. This is actually you see the 2-tiered double leveled room. So on top you have 2 beds there, which can easily fit extra children in there, and then you've got the 2 beds below as well. So you can definitely squeeze quite a few people in these rooms, and then yeah, they just all have this beautiful panoramic view from there. These are the main the garden suite, of which there are 3 absolutely enormous. When my children stayed there, easily, I mean, each child had their own queen size bed, so they're huge. This is one room, shows you how big they are. There's this lovely area in the middle, lounge area in the middle, and dining area in the middle. So if you wanted to be totally private, you could. I mean, obviously, we call them the garden suites, which are used for families. But if you had 2 couples traveling together, obviously, they could work really well for them as well. So this is the main room with a big king size bed, and then they actually have a single bed there as well. So that's designed for if you had maybe a smaller child that wanted to be in the same room as the parents. Lovely big open bathrooms. And beautiful, big, spacious rooms. But obviously, it's really all about the game experience at Lewa. And Lewa is one of Kenya's first and most successful wildlife conservancies, particularly in regards to rhino conservation. They have 16% of Kenya's rhinos in the conservancy. So it is unbelievable. It's almost like Impala would be for other reserves. It is like rhinos everywhere. And you never ever believe you'll get blasé about seeing rhino, but you actually do at Lewa Conservancy, because they are just everywhere. But that's not to say there's not other game as well. We saw an amazing cheetah sighting when we were there, a huge pride of lion, and the lion are actually hanging out a lot with the rhinos. A great video I took of a little baby rhino basically getting very cocky and getting very close to this pride of lion, who quite rightly got a little bit grumpy, but didn't do anything. It's quite amazing to see. But the wildlife there is just phenomenal, and you are just there, really, one of very few people seeing it. So it's just this absolute ultimate privacy as well. Lewa Wilderness have always had incredible vehicles, and they actually do have one of Kenya's first, in fact, I think it was Kenya's first electric vehicle. So they do have a electric a game drive vehicle as well. What they do is they rotate it around the clients, so everyone can have a go of the electric vehicle. And then, as I mentioned, like Kipri, this whole area is really about getting out the safari vehicle, having much more of an immersive safari experience. They have 40 horses at Lewa, and they are beautiful, beautiful horses. A lot of them are ex-polo ponies. So they're really stunning horses, but their horses go out and graze with the game. So the game are just so relaxed by having the horses nearby. So you can get unbelievably close to the game because you're on a horse. I mean, when we were there, we got within about 4 meters of a 5-day-old giraffe, and the mother was just so chilled because she'd been grazing with these horses just earlier on in the day. So it was just the most remarkable safari experience. Obviously, cheetah, lots of buffalo, and then obviously when you finished your game drive, you have this beautiful bush breakfast with Mount Kenya as a backdrop. The views, the panoramic views in Lewa are just absolutely incredible. I've spoken quite a lot about the activities, but really Lewa is also very, very geared towards families. It's just the most amazing family experience. These are my 3 little sprogs enjoying their time there, doing their camel trekking. It's just a variety of experiences you can have there, but also a key thing for anyone going to Lewa is actually going to spend some time at the Conservancy headquarters, which they really encourage guests to do. It's just the most fascinating experience. They really take time to explain to you about how they work, what work in their, what conservation work they're doing, how they do the patrols. It's just really interesting getting an insight into the engine room of this very, very successful conservancy. We also then do walking safaris. There's also other great things for children, like you can take them down to the spring where they can do little crabbing, so they can catch crabs in the little spring. They love playing with the dog. And then also taking them to see, this is not just children, this is everyone going to see the school. It's really lovely to go and see the school and get an insight into how the Conservancy actually work with the school and the impact they have. And the kids as you can see, are always very excited about welcoming guests to them. And again, the school really took time to explain to us about the impact that the Lewa Wildlife Conservancy actually have on them as an establishment. So in terms of other activities, what I mentioned about the horse riding, you can also take this a step further. If you have clients that are really keen on horse riding, they're setting up a Ride the Wilderness, which is going to be a 1 or 2 night excursion on the horses, where you can go further up to Illingrazy. And we've designed a whole flyer around that, which I'll send on to you if you've got clients that are particularly interested in horse riding. But even if they're not expert riders, they can have, an amazing wildlife experience on the horseback. So my family are not particularly good riders, and we got very, very close to the game. It's just phenomenal. Obviously, only very good riders would get this close to rhino. We were sticking closer to the zebra and the giraffe that were not going to get too feisty with us. But it's just amazing because you have this incredible horseback safari experience with just this incredible backdrop of Mount Kenya in the background. So as I mentioned earlier, the Lewa Wilderness Farm is about 1 kilometre from the property. And it's really lovely to go and actually see the farm, see the gardens. And they've just started doing a farm experience where you can go down into the gardens and have lunch with produce made or produced from the garden. And it's really fun to go around and see how they're growing all the veggies, all the fruit. It's just the most amazing setup. And it's not just the gardens, it's also woodworking. So you can see how they're fixing furniture constantly. They've got huge numbers of sheep, they've got bees, they've just got this huge operation behind the scenes, which is just really fascinating for guests to go and see. As I mentioned, the conservation is obviously a key reason why the tourists are there. And they are really proactive with the conservation, and they really are open to guests going to have an insight into what they're doing. As I mentioned, they've got 165 rhino on Lewa Wilderness. But it's not just the wildlife conservation that they have such an impact on. They affect 8,000 school children in the area in terms of their support, and 50,000 in terms of healthcare. So their reach to the local community is just phenomenal, which is just the most amazing experience to go and see just how wide-reaching they are. In terms of other activities you can do, they also do fly camping. There is an extra charge for that, because obviously they keep your room back at the lodge as well, and it requires quite a lot of logistics set up, but it is really, really fun experience. You can go out for the night, set up your tent, sleep under the stars, and it's just the most, really incredible experience. If you want to take it one step further, they actually have set up an organisation called Walking Wild, and this is run totally by the local community. It's supported by Lewa Wilderness. In fact, they actually market it and they encourage guests to go on it. But this is like a 1 or 2 day hike with the Maasai. They take you out with their camels, you do a walk, they set up the camp for you. It is more of an excursion than just a 1 night fly camping experience. It's actually a kind of walking safari you can do, where it's really a mobile camp. But again, just the most phenomenal experience. So they tend to, depending on the client's kind of walking aptitude, they will tend to go north towards Illingrazy, where they have these various different spots where they'll set up the camp. And again, I can send you through all the prices for doing this. And then finally, they also have their sister company, which is Wilderness. And this is really exciting because they have a number of different planes. They have a 206, a 210, which they do normal private charters with. But they actually have just taken on a caravan, an executive caravan, which has 9 seats in it, very, very big, spacious seats. And they are now flying direct between the Mara and Lewa. Because up until now, if you were going to combine the Mara and Lewa, you'd have to go, there's only one flight that goes direct, and that's from Lewa, from Nanyuki, direct to the Mara. So if you wanted to go Mara Lewa, you couldn't until now. So as of the 1st of June, Wilderness have launched their direct flight, which is going to go daily, which I'll send you through the schedule for that. But that's brilliant, and it's only about $50 more than going on a scheduled flight. So that's a really exciting addition to the portfolio, and it really opens up that whole Mara-Lewa connection, which is brilliant. In addition, if you had guests who wanted to do scenic flights, they also do that as well. So you can go around Mount Kenya, you can go up to the north to see Wateti Elephant Sanctuary, you can do a flight around Samburu as well. And you can also, if you're lucky enough, go in their incredible Wacko biplane. So this has actually been out of action for the last year or so, mainly because they didn't have the Kenya aviation authorities change their licensing, and because this is such a unique plane, it's the only biplane in East Africa, they didn't have a license for this particular type of plane, which probably was not hugely surprising because it's such a unique plane. So I've had to wait for this unique license to come through. But essentially, as of this summer, they will be flying this plane. They're just training up a second pilot to fly it because it's quite a different experience. This is my Mel Street at the moment. And what's amazing about this plane is there's 2 seats and the passenger goes in the front and the pilot goes behind. So it's quite disconcerting when you first get in because you do feel like you're about to fly a plane without having a clue. But it is the most amazing experience. It's all open cockpit. So your hair is in the wind. You've got your your sheepskin jacket on, your goggles on, and it's just the most fun experience. These are some photos that I took whilst up there. I have got a short film which I hopefully will work as well. So that was pretty cool. That was us flying over the property. And the flight lasts about 20-25 minutes, and you go all the way up towards the northern ranges area, the Inland Grazie area, fly quite low over the ground, then just drop down over the property. So it's quite a special moment. So that is actually the end of the presentation. This is another film which I've got, which I actually won't share with you now because I've already shown you one film. But Chiara has asked, when will the biplane experience start? It's going to restart again in the summer. They have got the license now, finally. They're just training up another pilot because obviously it's quite a unique experience to be able to pilot as well. So that should be starting in the summer. I will actually end, this is a film I'm going to play you now, which is actually our previous marketing film, which I think is still a lovely one to show you. But I will send you both this one and the Lewa Wilderness 50th anniversary one, which is more of a I suppose the 50th anniversary one is more of a story in the background, but this again is a beautiful film to be able to show your clients if they just want to get more of a taster as to what Lewa Wilderness is all about. So that is the end of the presentation. I will follow up with you all afterwards, but thank you so much for joining me. I've got some lovely messages coming in. Dee, Lewa is where my heart lies, the most wonderful and special place. It really is. We're very, very privileged to work with it. And I think the fact that it has this incredible game experience, but also this multitude of activities is just phenomenal. We stayed there for 4 nights in October, and I tell you, it was not enough. We were busy the whole time, and I could have happily stayed there for a week. So that's the other thing. If you've got clients who just want to go on safari and go to one place, then this is just the most perfect place to go because there's just so much to do. But thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I'm going to end with this film, and yeah, hopefully see you at our next webinar, which will be in a couple of weeks' time. Thank you so much.